Chapter 22 Unraveling the Details of Evidence. You are listening at novelfold.audio. Huang Landing remained silent. Kuntai was a little anxious, and kept winking. After the handcuffs were opened, Mr. Li's face became more gloomy, and he looked up at Lin Luo in front of him. If the protagonist Qin Feng came, he might be frightened by his gaze. Unfortunately, Lin Luo is not Qin Feng. He chuckled and turned to the center of the workshop. After clearing his throat, he officially began to reveal the case. 3 months ago, 4 gold shops in Chinatown were robbed overnight, and a total of more than 100 kilograms of gold were lost. After a careful investigation, we found that Songpa, the owner of Songpa Workshop, was one of the masterminds. However, just when we were about to arrest Songpa, the night before, he was found dead in the workshop, and the stolen gold was also missing. Mr. Li should not know about these things, right? Lin Luo asked with his head tilted. He continued without waiting for anyone to speak. Under the arrangement of Sir Cohen, I have made a lot of secret visits and can confirm it. Songpa's case has nothing to do with the gold robbery. It's just that the time when Songpa was killed was very coincidental, which misled some people's vision, so there was an illusion that the two were related. This sentence hinted at Huang Landing, who was standing aside. Huang Landing understood and was immediately furious. He shouted coldly, "These are all your assumptions. No assumptions are allowed in handling cases." Of course. Lin Luo snapped his fingers and nodded. He waved to the side. Kuntai's men immediately understood and took out several things. This is the pestle that killed Songpa. The police have identified that the remaining blood does belong to Songpa. Next, I want to tell you a story. Lin Luo took the pestle and put it on the counter of the workshop. On April 14, 2015, at 11:30 p.m., Tang Ren in Chinatown received a call asking him to deliver a batch of goods to Songpa Workshop. As soon as he opened his mouth to say the first sentence, Mr. Li, who was not far away, suddenly tensed up. The noise was so loud that it even alarmed several police officers around. Huang Landing and Kuntai also noticed it. Kuntai remained calm and asked several police officers to surround him and keep a close eye on his every move. As for Lin Luo, the story continued. At 12 o'clock in the evening, Tang Ren arrived at Songpa Workshop. It was Songpa who opened the door for him, but because the light was too bright, he went straight into the workshop. As Lin Luo told the story, a henchman turned on a searchlight to simulate the environment at that time. The lights were off in the workshop, only a candle was lit on the counter, and the demon-subduing pestle was placed on the chair in front of the counter. In order to fill out the receipt, Tang Ren naturally picked up the demon-subduing pestle and put it on the counter. After receiving the receipt from Songpa and paying the money, Songpa went straight back to the room. While filling out the receipt, music sounded in the room. Tang Ren turned his head and saw that it was faintly coming from Songpa's bedroom. Candles were also lit in the bedroom, and only Songpa's shadow could be seen sitting on the chair. With the efforts of several minions, the environment in the workshop was simulated into the scene of that night. Kun Tai stood there, feeling chilled. Some of the minions beside him were guarding Mr. Li, and some went to set up the environment. He was left standing alone in front of the statue, with hair standing on end. He unconsciously moved closer to Huang Landing. Wait. Huang Landing frowned and interrupted. How do you know these things? Sir Huang, is there a possibility that Tang Ren and I are both under Sir Kuen's command, and I can ask him in person? Then according to you, when Tang Ren arrived at the workshop, Songpa was not dead yet? Huang Landing asked. Lin Luo put his index finger in front of his mouth to signal him to be quiet. Here, it's the second story I want to tell. Mr. Li, can I? Everyone looked at Mr. Li, feeling a sense of authority. Mr. Li's face seemed to have turned a lot paler, and he did not answer Lin Luo's question. First of all, let me ask a question. There is water and electricity in the workshop. Why did Songpa only light candles when he worked at night? Because. Lin Luo paused deliberately. That night, what Tang Ren saw was not Songpa, but Songpa disguised by Mr. Li. His tone suddenly became sharp. In conjunction with Mr. Li's suddenly widened eyes, a strange atmosphere permeated the dim workshop. A thug wearing a wig walked out of the bedroom. Under the glaring light, his face was completely invisible. Kun Sir stood alone, his legs trembling slightly. If it weren't for his face, he would have even wanted to hug Huang Landing's arm for comfort. Mr. Li used the light and the wig to deceive Tang Ren and made him think that Songpa was still alive. He also deliberately put the demon pestle there to get Tang Ren's fingerprints. As for Songpa's shadow in the bedroom. In fact, what Tang Ren saw was just Songpa's body. And Mr. Li, who pretended to be Songpa, hid in the box immediately after giving the money and locked it from the inside. Using Tang Ren's hand, he left the crime scene. Everyone thought that Tang Ren pushed away the gold, but in fact, we were all fooled by Mr. Li. That everyone in the workshop fell silent. Huang Landing's expression was ugly, and his eyes kept fluctuating. I admit that your reasoning is brilliant, but there is still no evidence. Songpa's workshop is very closed, with only one exit, the main door, and there is 24-hour surveillance outside the door. We checked the 7-day video. From beginning to end, only Tang Ren entered and exited the workshop. How do you explain this? Lin Luo smiled. It's very simple. You checked the content of 7 days because the video can only be cached for 7 days at most. As long as you enter the workshop 7 days in advance, the surveillance will not be able to capture it. Sir Huang, please listen to me patiently. Lin Luo waved his hand, leaving Huang Landing speechless. I checked in the workshop. There are several footprints on the wall under the bed in the secondary bedroom. They should have been left when hiding there. Mr. Li, if I'm not mistaken, those footprints were left by you, right? No need to explain, we have technicians to verify. As soon as the voice fell, several police officers immediately walked into the secondary bedroom, which was Songpa's son's room. They walked out quickly. Huang Sir, Kun Sir, there are indeed traces of footprints. Kun Tai's eyes lit up with joy. Huang Landing, on the other hand, looked like he had lost his parents. Coincidentally, Mr. Li took a long vacation 7 days ago, but I searched all over Bangkok and couldn't find any trace of Mr. Li. Lin Luo smiled. Maybe Mr. Li was hiding here at the time. If Mr. Li has other reasons. Coincidentally, I also have evidence here. As he said, Lin Luo took out an evidence bag from his arms. The bag contained the speaker of Songpa's house. That night, Tang Ren heard the music, which means someone turned on the speaker. But Mr. Li was hiding in the box at that time. So I think you should have remotely controlled Bluetooth to turn on the speaker to play music. It just so happens that this kind of speaker has a memory function. Holding the speaker in his hand, Lin Luo pretended to hand it to Mr. Li. Why don't you take out your phone and see if it will connect automatically? Chapter 23. The truth has come out, has it? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking at the speaker handed to him and Lin Luo's smiling face, Mr. Li's neck was stiff. He turned his head. I don't understand what you are saying. This only means that Songpa and I know each other and have been to his workshop before, but it doesn't prove that I killed him. Really? Lin Luo narrowed his eyes. In fact, everyone knew that these evidences were linked together, and it was completely certain that he was the murderer. When the results of the shoe print identification came out, the case would be solved, but he couldn't wait that long. Only by solving the case as soon as possible can he get a higher evaluation of the copy. At this time, the best assist Huang Sir appeared again. Wait, I have another question. Huang Landing raised his hand. This Mr. Li has nothing to do with Songpa. Why did he kill Songpa? At the same time, those reincarnations who turned into police officers also held their breath and looked at Lin Luo. Everyone prayed in their hearts, praying for his failure, because once the case was successfully solved, the entire copy would lose its value of exploration. Even the copy world would end early. Everyone had their own ulterior motives. After hearing Huang Sir's question, Lin Luo almost laughed out loud. If it wasn't for the copy evaluation, he even wanted to walk over and thank Huang Landing. He was just worrying about how to tell the second story. Huang Landing's assist came up. What a good person. Facing many questioning eyes, Lin Luo's mouth corners gradually curled up. Huang Sir is right. Why did Mr. Li kill Songpa? This is a good question. It's just that I also want to ask classmate Sinuo about this question. Sinuo, do you know anything? Following Lin Luo's words, everyone's eyes suddenly turned to Sinuo, who was standing aside waiting. Huang Landing and Kuntai were a little confused. Aren't you stating the motive for the murder? Why did you involve other people? Also, what's the situation with this little girl? Hearing her name being called, Sinuo raised her head and looked at Lin Luo with pure eyes. After a few seconds, she showed a harmless smile on her face, responded in a gentle tone, "Big brother, are you asking me about this? I don't know these things, and I didn't want my father to do these things. I didn't think about this. But if my father really killed someone, I..." Halfway through, her voice suddenly choked. Even the perverted Kuntai felt that Lin Luo was a little cruel. She was just a little girl who was still in school. Why did he have to list the crimes of her father in front of her? It's really unnecessary, but... Lin Luo, who was familiar with the plot, would naturally not be deceived by Sinuo's appearance. Faced with Sinuo's weak disguise, he was unmoved. Let me tell you another story. Huang Sir should know that the deceased Songpa had a son named Dan. But just last year, Dan disappeared inexplicably, and the police couldn't find him after a long time. This should be seen in the file, right? At the same time as Lin Luo spoke, Huang Landing nodded slightly, as if he remembered this matter, and the girl Sinuo standing in front of him, although her expression was still cute, her eyes became deep. As a father, Songpa certainly won't give up looking for his son. He searched for a whole 6 months and finally found a clue. Songpa suspected that Dan's disappearance might be related to a girl named Sinuo in his school. So from that day on, Songpa began to follow the girl privately, to find his son's whereabouts. The girl didn't notice this. Until that day after school, Songpa suddenly had a bad idea and lured the girl back to the workshop. Enough! Mr. Li roared. He lowered his head, but his eyes were like a wolf, staring at Lin Luo. Several police officers beside him quickly stepped forward and held him on the left and right. To prevent him from doing anything dangerous, Huang Landing saw this scene, his eyes flashed, and then he turned to look at Sinuo. Kuntai looked left and right and seemed not to understand the meaning of the story. Seeing Mr. Li's sinister eyes, Lin Luo was unmoved, just sighed softly. Reaching out, he took out a notebook with a blue-green cover from his arms. "Mr. Li, this diary should be familiar to you, right?" That when this diary appeared, not only Mr. Li. Sinuo on the side also widened his eyes. His expression looked unusually stiff, but she soon relaxed again. In the original plot, Sinuo had deliberately let Qin Feng and others find the diary to clear her suspicion. Now, it was just discovered in advance, and the impact was not great. "What did you do?" Mr. Li shouted in a deep voice. "You dare to break into a private house? I want to complain about you. I must complain about you." That while shouting, he stretched out his hand to push the police officer beside him away, trying to come up and snatch the notebook. Obviously, the appearance of the diary made Mr. Li completely out of control. The incident happened suddenly, and several police officers did not react. In addition, Lin Luo did it deliberately. Mr. Li broke free from his restraints, ran to Lin Luo in 2 steps, and took the diary in his hand. He quickly opened the diary, wanting to destroy the evidence inside. However, the diary was empty. Lin Luo took out an identical notebook with his backhand. "Sorry, I took the wrong one just now. This one is the real one. Langdon Huang." Others, the police officers, reacted and quickly held down Mr. Li, who was as furious as a lion. What girl doesn't have her own thoughts? Lin Luo shook his head with regret. It's just a pity that the girl faced the humiliation and didn't dare to tell her family, so she could only write down all her worries in her diary. At the same time, guided by anger, the smart girl also simulated a perfect crime and wanted to kill the man who insulted her. "Stop talking, shut up." Mr. Li roared angrily. "I admit that I was the one who killed Sampa." That when he said these words, Lin Luo's heart finally fell to the ground. On Lang Huang's side, although he felt unwilling to do so, there was also a bit more admiration in his eyes, but Lin Luo didn't stop. "Coincidentally, my father came across this diary by chance. When I saw the girl's recorded thoughts, as a father, I was immediately furious. Just follow the crime method written in the diary and kill the man who insulted the girl, that is, Songpa." That the words fell, Kuntai looked excited, cheered loudly, and clapped at the same time. Even the reincarnations who gathered around to watch the show, their jaws dropped in shock, and they looked at Lin Luo like a god, with a complicated expression. Langdon Huang called on several police officers to handcuff Mr. Li and prepare to escort him back to the police station. Then he walked up to him and said, "Your name is Ding Shen, right? I admit that you are very capable. The Songpa case has been revealed, but the missing gold has not been found yet. When you get back to the police station, have you considered changing jobs?" He suddenly lowered his voice. Kuntai, who had been paying attention here, noticed it instantly. He hurriedly stepped forward and stretched out his hand to push him away. "Wang Langdon, what do you mean? You snatched my pony in front of me, right?" That the two were about to quarrel, but Lin Luo waved his hand and turned to look at Sinuo with a smile. "Has the truth come to light? Classmate Sinuo, don't you have anything to add about Sampa's case?" Chapter 24 The Real Culprit Behind the Scenes and the Missing Gold. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The noisy workshop was instantly quiet. Sinuo still looked innocent and simple, pouting and looking at the direction where Mr. Li was taken away. Then he looked at Lin Luo and said, "Big brother, I have nothing to add." "Oh, really?" Lin Luo nodded. "Although it was Mr. Li who killed the person, it was you who recorded the method of killing. Don't you have anything to say about this?" Sinuo's face showed a frightened expression, her tone also became trembling. "I didn't, it wasn't me. I was just very scared and angry, and I wrote a diary casually, but I didn't expect my father to really kill someone." As she said this, she covered her face with her hands and sobbed softly. Kuntai shook off Huang Landing and came to the two of them. "Shensi, why don't we just forget it? She is just a little girl. Besides, there is no law that prohibits writing a diary. What if the things in the diary are all made up by her?" Lin Luo did not look back, still staring at Sinuo in front of him. In the original plot in order to clear her suspicion, Sinuo deliberately tore up the last 2 pages of her diary before Qin Feng found her. Although Qin Feng finally found out, it was only a story for later, and now, she didn't have time to tear up her diary. Her psychological preparation was definitely not as perfect as in the original plot. Hearing Lin Luo's words, Sinuo slowly raised her head and looked very surprised. "You said in your diary that Songpa had evil intentions and tricked you back to the workshop to commit violence. That's why you hate him. You wrote in your diary that you wanted Songpa to die, and you also wrote down the plan to kill him in detail. But there's something you may not know." Lin Luo smiled. "Songpa often goes to a bar in the city. The name of the bar is Eugenin, similar in shape. I wonder if Kuan Sir knows it." Kuan Tai was stunned and lowered his head in thought. He quickly raised his head, eyes wide open, and answered, "It's that gay bar." "That's right." After investigation, Songpa's psychology was distorted because of his long-term singleness, and his sexual orientation had changed a long time ago. "A homosexual, you said he would be violent to you?" Lin Luo snorted coldly. "The fact is that you not only killed Dan, but also used the diary to guide Mr. Li to kill Songpa when Songpa found you. Everything, you thought was in a careful plan, but you didn't know that in the diary, you just happened to expose the biggest flaw." The resounding words fell, while Kuntai, Wang Landang and others were confused. At this time, Sinuo's face was pale, and she finally stopped hiding. She slowly lowered her head, only the upper half of her face looked at Lin Luo, and her eyes became gloomy and cold. This look, at that time, almost scared Qin Feng to pee, and everyone else present, except Lin Luo, took a half step back and looked at Sinuo with astonishment. "Who are you? How do you know these things?" Sinuo said softly, with a cold tone. "How do I know? Of course I know it from watching movies. I can't tell you." Faced with her questioning, Lin Luo smiled and shook his head. Without answering his question, Kuan Tai reacted and asked his men to take Sinuo to the car, until she was sent out of the workshop gate. Her eyes stayed on Lin Luo for a long time, her eyes full of deep meaning. So far, the Songpa case has really ended. Next, it's time to find the hidden gold. Without waiting for Huang Landing to remind him, Lin Luo found an iron rod at random and walked to the statue of the King of Heaven standing in the center of the workshop. "Kuan Sir, Huang Sir, in fact, the gold has been hidden in the workshop from the beginning to the end, but no one has discovered it. He swung the iron rod and hit the chest of the statue hard. Up to 87 points of strength, with just one stick, the outer shell of the statue shattered instantly, large tracts of golden gold were exposed to everyone. Kuntai and Huang Landing looked at each other with surprise. No matter who it was, as long as the gold was found and Mr. Yen was not angry, everyone could live in peace, and if the gold could not be found, the entire Chinatown Police Department might be finished. Among them, the most painful person was the police officer with a small mustache. He was very curious why Lin Luo could come back safely, but his accomplices had no news. If the news could be passed earlier, he could transport the statue in advance and get the gold easily. The hatred in his heart made the eyes of the small mustache red. Staring at Lin Luo, the statue was quickly cleaned. More than 100 kilograms of gold melted into a whole piece, about the size of 2 large Sprite bottles. It was placed upright on the ground, except for the small mustache and the reincarnation. No one dared to covet the gold, because they knew clearly that the gold belonged to Mr. Yen, and in Chinatown, Mr. Yen was the real king. Come on, some people, hurry up and transport the gold back to the police station, and make sure it's transported safely. Kuntai shouted loudly. At this time, Lin Luo stepped forward and came to Kuntai's side. Kun Sir, let Huang Sir's people transport the gold. Kuntai turned his head in confusion. First of all, we solved both cases, so your position as deputy director is set in stone. But we have to let Huang Sir have some benefits too. Besides, if there is an accident during the transportation of the gold, and Mr. Yen blames it, it has nothing to do with you. Lin Luo explained. Of course, the truth is definitely not like that. After completing the task, I will leave the dungeon world. Who eats meat and who drinks soup has nothing to do with me. The reason why Huang Landing's men were asked to transport the gold was because Kuntai's men seemed to have more reincarnations. Moreover, Huang Landing was very confident in the subordinate with the mustache. If nothing unexpected happens, the task of transporting gold must be left to the mustache. Kuntai thought it made sense, and immediately found Huang Landing and discussed it with him in a low voice. Lin Luo stood there waiting. In fact, the task was over here. The criminals had been caught, the stolen gold had been found, and the task could be submitted at any time. But just when Lin Luo was about to contact the manager, footsteps were heard. A figure who was also a police officer quietly touched his side. While the others were not paying attention, he whispered, "Brother, are you also with me? You can complete the task so quickly. Your strategy is at least S-level, right? Would you consider selling it? Don't worry, the price is negotiable." Lin Luo glanced at him and sneered in his heart. "I can sell it, but I'm afraid you don't have so much money to buy it." "You can't say that." The man smiled awkwardly. "I have observed for a long time, brother, you should not have been ranked yet, right?" He raised his hand and showed the illusory star on his wrist. "Brother, don't worry, as long as you are willing to sell the strategy, I can also give you a few strategies. In less than a month, you can successfully rank to 1 star, how about it?" "Not so good." Lin Luo didn't have the patience to talk nonsense with him. On the forum, an S-level strategy can be sold for at least tens of millions. He actually wants to get this thing for free. What's more, his evaluation may be above S-level. If it weren't still in the copy, he would have to punch him in the face. She waved her hand casually, signaling him to stay away from her. Then, Lin Luo communicated with the manager. Begin the task settlement. Chapter 25 SSS-level evaluation reappears. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the corner of the workshop. "Brother Chang, is that guy willing to sell the strategy?" The man who just came back shook his head, staring at Lin Luo in the distance with a sinister look. Several people were suddenly a little anxious. What should we do? Young Master Zhong is still waiting for a reply, and there is no time. Young Master Zhong and his team just found Tang Ren. If the case is solved, the evaluation will definitely not be too high. If he can't upgrade, we won't get our money. The young Master Zhong mentioned by several people is the young man named Zhong Bufan in the room before entering the dungeon. Zhong Bufan also has an A-level strategy, so when he entered the dungeon, he chose the detective agency camp as soon as he entered the dungeon. According to the normal rhythm, following the two protagonists to solve the case can be solved within 3 days. But the appearance of Lin Luo obviously disrupted all the rhythms. The man narrowed his eyes and shook his head at everyone. It's okay, just wait and see. Write down the lines and clues he used to solve the case just now. Follow the lines, the dungeon rating shouldn't be too low, we won't lose no matter what. Several people nodded in agreement at the same time, and continued to discuss in the corner, and on Lin Luo's side, the manager's voice soon sounded. Congratulations to the reincarnationist, it took 1 hour and 27 minutes to complete the Chinatown Detective Dungeon, and all the main tasks have been completed. Hidden task, gold robbers, completed. Only hidden task, good and evil, completed. Task rating, SSS. Congratulations to the Reincarnationist Galaxy for getting the perfect SSS rating, charm value +1, luck value +1. Reincarnation points, 10,000 points. Reincarnation coins, 500 pieces. Congratulations to the Reincarnationist Galaxy for getting the title of World Master in the Chinatown Detective Dungeon. A long series of prompts sounded one after another. Hearing that he had obtained an SSS-level evaluation again, Lin Luo's eyes flashed. As expected, speedrunning the dungeon will also improve the dungeon evaluation. Just like today's dungeon, it would take 3 days to solve the case, but he shortened it to more than an hour. In addition, he completed 2 hidden tasks. It is reasonable to get an SSS-level evaluation. The title of Lord of the World that appeared again attracted Lin Luo's attention. According to the explanation of the manager, as long as you get this title, your luck and charm value will be instantly full in the current world. Moreover, the dungeon will not restrict the exploration of reincarnationists. In the dungeon where the title of Lord of the World is obtained, there is number 24-hour cooling time limit. As long as you want, you can enter the Tang Detective world at any time. This is another epic improvement for me. After all, the Tang Detective world is not only Bangkok, but also the prosperous New York and Tokyo are waiting. Thinking of Xiaolin Anna in the plot, Lin Luo's heart was slightly hot. Suddenly, a louder reminder sounded in the dungeon. At the same time, it also resounded throughout the reincarnation space. Congratulations! Reincarnationist Inha has performed perfectly in the Chinatown Detective copy and received an SSS-level perfect evaluation. Now the whole space is being notified. That the prompt sounded 3 times before it ended. Lin Luo was not the only one who was confused. The few people standing in the corner of the workshop also heard the notification. After reacting, everyone was dumbfounded and turned to look in the direction of Lin Luo. What the hell? He was actually Inha. Bang! Several porcelain bowls were thrown to the ground with a loud noise. In the Chinatown Detective Agency, the young man Zhong Bufan had a distorted face and gritted his teeth at the several reincarnationists beside him. Fuck! How could Inha be in this copy? Go check it out for me. Who is Inha? Go check it out. Many reincarnationists under his command did not dare to speak, and walked out of the room with their heads down and scattered. In the reincarnation space, everyone who heard the manager's prompt had a dull expression. SSS-level perfect evaluation. Here it comes again. And, it's Galaxy again. Such thoughts exploded in everyone's mind. Calm down for a moment. The reincarnationists instantly became boiling. My god, this guy is still a human. How come he got the SSS rating again? It's a conspiracy. It must be a conspiracy. I'm really impressed. Galaxy is a perfect rating harvester, right? It's only been a day. Ghost, you really mean it? I'm afraid he entered the dungeon and got the SSS rating right after the cooldown period. Is it his reincarnation space? Galaxy, I love you. I don't know which country this Galaxy is from. I hope he's a Sakura person. Stop dreaming. Do you understand what I mean? What the hell? With the previous efforts, Galaxy has 2 world masters. Hiss, I'm jealous. Please beg the boss to give me a strategy. I'm really upset. More and more people are starting to pay attention to the name Galaxy. The government and the family consortiums of various countries spend a lot of manpower and resources just to contact Galaxy. 1 perfect evaluation can be considered luck. What about 2 times? And they got perfect evaluations for 2 consecutive days. This record is terrifying. Although Galaxy is less than 1 star now, it is almost certain that his future may not be inferior to that of the God of War Dick. While many organizations are rushing to him, the Daxia Alliance is somewhat silent. Of course, this silence is only for the outside world. Inside the Alliance, when the notification sounded, Xiao Yuxuan, who was in the reincarnation space, was stunned. She opened her personal panel, and the news of countless colleagues poured out instantly. And on the friend application page, an application with the 2 words Tianwen on top suddenly came into view. Wait, Tianwen? The only 5-star reincarnationist in Daxia? The 3rd Tianwen on the list? In the Tang Tan copy, several reincarnationists are ready to move, but after seeing Lin Luo's cold eyes, no one dared to step forward. It was not until then that Lin Luo knew why he became known to everyone overnight. Before, he was just a trialist and could not hear the notification of the whole space. It turned out that he had been sold out by the manager without knowing it, alas. Lin Luo was helpless while smiling bitterly. At least he got an SSS-level evaluation, so it was not a big loss. When a perfect evaluation is obtained, the reincarnationist can bring the things in the copy back to the reincarnation space, but Tang Tan is just a low-star copy, and there is basically nothing valuable. He had already considered the only thing to bring, at this time. Kuntai had already discussed with Huang Landeng and asked him to find someone to bring the gold back to the police station. As expected, the little mustache took on this task. Seeing the little mustache excitedly carrying the gold into the car, Lin Luo also smiled. Although the copy has been settled, but the task time limit is 3 days in total. In other words, all reincarnationists can stay in the copy for 3 days. After saying hello to Kuntai, Lin Luo followed him out of the workshop, before walking out of the door. He glanced at the silly reincarnationists in the corner. Without staying too long, he turned and left. Chapter 26: The Manager's Instructions. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There weren't too many surprises. With Lin Luo's current 4-dimensional attributes, even if the mustache guy pulled out a gun, he would definitely not be his opponent. Looking at the pile of gold in his backpack, Lin Luo nodded with satisfaction. He casually pushed the car carrying the mustache guy's body into the river, then turned and left. More than 100 kilograms of gold, at the current gold price, can be sold for more than 50 million. I'm just not sure if this thing is not allowed to be taken out of the space. Nothing to say, as long as it can be used in the copy, it still has value. In some cases, they are even more valuable than gold in the real world. Because the currency of the outside world cannot be used in the copy, for some reincarnations, these golds that can be used in the copy are inestimable in value. At worst, throw them into the exchange and hang them there. There will always be resentful people who spend money to buy them. Lin Luo gained a lot, and his steps became lighter. He was considering whether to leave the copy now or play here for a few more days. Anyway, no matter how many days he stays, the outside world will only pass by in an hour, so it's a waste if he doesn't play. But Tang Tan's plot in Bangkok has ended. He has no intention of getting to know Tang Ren and Qin Feng at the moment. The only thing that makes him hesitate is the flamboyant landlord A Xiang. After thinking for a while, he finally decided to leave the dungeon. He has the title of the Lord of the World and can enter the Tang Tan world at any time. Moreover, his luck and charm are still full. As long as A Xiang does not disappear in the sequel, he can find her at any time and discuss some life philosophy. There is no need to rush for a while. Lin Luo stopped and said silently in his heart. Exit the dungeon. But the vision in front of him gradually recovered. Lin Luo found that he did not return home. Instead, he appeared in the room where he was waiting to enter the dungeon before. At this time, there were more than 10 figures standing in the room. Several people who witnessed him complete the task in the workshop happened to be standing in the crowd and talking to others. As the black fog dissipated, everyone soon found Lin Luo, who had just exited the dungeon, in the crowd. The reincarnation known as Brother Chang looked over. He looked carefully. For a long time. Is it him? Not sure. The images in the dungeon are all set, so I can't tell for now. I remember that person was a loner, and he looks quite similar to him. Go over and ask first, and then we'll talk about it after we're sure. Brother Chang, you've talked to him, why don't you go over and ask? That just as they had some ideas, Lin Luo instantly understood their many actions. He didn't waste any words, and his eyes instantly became cold. There was also a sense of no strangers allowed around him. there were more than a dozen people in the room, all of them were 1-star reincarnations, and everyone's star rating was higher than Lin Luo's. But in terms of attributes alone, no one was his opponent when they met Lin Luo's eyes. Their feet stopped moving, except for Brother Chong in the crowd. Brother Chong paused in place, and suddenly recalled in his mind, in the workshop in the Tang detective world, the mysterious galaxy's eyes were exactly the same as the one in front of him. And it can be confirmed, the galaxy god, who made a sensation in the entire samsara space, must also be in the Tang Tan copy. He reacted immediately, and his pupils dilated slightly. He pointed in the direction of Lin Luo. He is galaxy. That this sentence was like a cannonball, exploding in the room. The scattered samsaras turned their heads to look at Lin Luo, and kept approaching him, especially those who had witnessed everything in the workshop, with a look of fanaticism or deep meaning in their eyes. They walked towards here faster. Galaxy God, I am your fan. Boss, please give me a guide. I don't want a perfect level, even an S-level one will do. Galaxy, I am from the Penguin Consortium. While everyone was going crazy, people kept quitting the copy. Seeing the noisy atmosphere in the room, they didn't know what happened, until someone else explained. The man thought for a few seconds and joined the crazy team. More than a dozen people approached with fangs and claws. The scene in front of him made Lin Luo sweat all over his face, and he was speechless in his heart. How could he know that after the reincarnationists left the dungeon, they would first appear in the preparation room, then they would leave one by one? He never expected that someone would actually recognize his identity. Looking at the people who were constantly approaching in front of him, Lin Luo did not dare to hesitate, turned his head and prepared to run back. Suddenly, there was a light snap. The originally bright room suddenly became dark, and you could not see your hand in front of you. The excited shouts from the people behind him also disappeared in an instant. The sudden change made Lin Luo a little stunned. He stood there and slowly looked behind him. Suddenly he found that he had left the waiting room and appeared in the reincarnation column instead. There was a small table in the middle of the room. A figure sat in front of the table, wearing a black robe that covered his whole body. He was staring at this side silently. Manager? Lin Luo was a little confused. Why did I suddenly come here? Of course I teleported you here. A deep voice sounded from under the deep black robe. The manager sighed helplessly. When entering and leaving the dungeon, the reincarnators will be given priority to enter the waiting space to facilitate overall management. As long as you recite it in your heart, you can come out of the waiting space at any time. Remember it next time. Okay. Lin Luo nodded. He started to walk towards the manager with a suspicious look in his eyes. When he came to the table, he looked at him carefully for a long time. He asked, "We have met before, are you the one with self-awareness?" That the manager did not answer and remained silent. It seems that he guessed right. Although managers are everywhere in the entire reincarnation space, but most of them are unconscious clones, like set programs. They can only do prescribed things, but the one in front of him has self-awareness. He should be the manager with the highest authority in the entire space. How did he get this thigh? Is it because of the SSS-level evaluation? Combining various factors, Lin Luo can think of the most reasonable explanation, which can only be this reason. Congratulations, you got another SSS-level evaluation. After a moment of silence, the manager spoke. Although I don't know what method you used, the reincarnation space will not go wrong. You should have obtained the complete title of Lord of the World, right? Lin Luo nodded. I got it. But I feel it is useless. It's just a title, and it can't significantly increase your strength. Hehe. The manager, who has always been calm, actually sneered. However, he didn't explain too much, changing the subject. When you return to the reincarnation space, your star level will increase automatically based on the existing points. When you become a 1-star reincarnation, you can choose to draw a 2-star copy world. The manager regained his calm tone. I'm very optimistic about you, so I'll give you a few words. It's up to you whether you listen or not. As long as you have the ability and can get an SSS-level evaluation, the more the better. Don't try to hide your incompetence. In the end, you will only hurt yourself. Always be aggressive. Within your ability, try to choose high-star dungeons to explore. The higher the better. Finally. The manager paused, "You must learn to think. The dungeon is not a game, but the real world." After the voice fell, Lin Luo's eyes flashed. He wanted to ask a few more questions, but the manager suddenly waved his hand, and the vision in front of him suddenly turned black. When he reacted, he had returned home and stood in the empty living room, looking at the samsara pillar standing in the sky in the distance. A prompt sounded beside his ear. Chapter 27 What Matters Most. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Reincarnation Galaxy, you have accumulated 20,000 reincarnation points, meeting the star upgrade requirements. You have officially become a 1-star reincarnation. According to the rules, you can now choose the highest 2-star copy to challenge. Wish you good luck. Hearing the prompt, Lin Luo raised his left hand belatedly. The originally blurred mark on his wrist finally began to become clear. A bright star slowly emerged, dazzling. This is the symbol of the reincarnation star level, which can only be upgraded with reincarnation points. Reincarnations of low stars are not necessarily weak, but high-star reincarnations are definitely very strong, so Lin Luo has a more intuitive understanding of the importance of reincarnation points. Points cannot be traded. In order to obtain more points, trading copy strategies has become the only means. On the forum, the price of strategies with only one level difference in evaluation can even differ by more than 10 times. If an S-level strategy appears, it will definitely attract countless people to scramble for it. What a pity. The 2 copies he completed were both rated SSS level. According to the rules of the reincarnation space, once a perfect evaluation appears, the main quest of the dungeon will be frozen. In other words, in the future, when someone goes in to explore, they can only complete those side quests. No matter what, the evaluation will not be very high. Besides, he had no intention of selling the strategy. Lin Luo exchanged all the 10,000 points in total for free attribute points. These attribute points are temporarily stored for backup, with the current attributes comparable to those of a 2-star reincarnation. It is completely enough in a low-star dungeon. As for attribute points, it is not too late to add them when needed. Finally, there are the 500 reincarnation coins. To upgrade the Beiming Divine Art to the 3rd level, you need a full 1,000 reincarnation coins. The 6 Meridians Divine Sword is cheaper, but it also requires 400 reincarnation coins to upgrade to the 2nd level. Judging from the current 1 and 2-star ordinary dungeons, there is almost no time to use these 2 skills. After thinking about it, Lin Luo still resisted the urge to upgrade. Open the attribute panel. Reincarnation Galaxy, reincarnation number 202332250127, P-Zone, Strength, 87. Constitution, 108. Agility, 81. Spirit, 103. Luck, 2. Charm, 10. Free attributes, 100. Reincarnation points, 0. Reincarnation coins, 500. Skills, Beiming Divine Art, 2nd level, 6 Meridians Divine Sword, 1st level, Reincarnation Star Rating, 1 star, except for the 100 free attributes exchanged with points. After exploring the Tang Detective copy, the attribute panel has almost no growth. Lin Luo sighed in his heart. This is the disadvantage of low-star copies. No matter how high the evaluation is, even if you get an SSS-level evaluation, the growth of personal strength is still limited. Only by upgrading quickly and exploring those high-star copies can you quickly improve your strength. If it weren't for the cooldown time of the copy, he would have wanted to start the next exploration immediately. After a moment of regret, Lin Luo opened the exchange. He put all the gold he brought out from the copy in it. These things are also very troublesome to deal with in the real world, and we must be wary of official investigations. It is better to sell them in the reincarnation space. Moreover, with the feature that can be used in the dungeon, gold may be sold at a higher price. After setting the lowest price, Lin Luo reached out to close the personal panel. Just as he was about to exit the reincarnation space, a message prompt suddenly sounded. After Inha received the SSS-level evaluation for the 2nd time, there were too many people who wanted to contact Inha. Countless people wanted to find him, but under the shielding of the system, all video communications and private message requests were intercepted and processed silently. Only messages from friends would not be intercepted. After a moment of stunned, Lin Luo quickly reacted. It should be Xiao Yuxuan again. He smiled slightly, and then clicked on the message panel. Sure enough, a message prompt from Xiao Yuxuan popped up instantly. it was even a video communication request, wearing a mask. Lin Luo leaned on the sofa and answered her video request. A huge holographic projection screen appeared in the center of the living room. Then, Xiao Yuxuan's exquisite face appeared. She did not cover her face, and even her facial features were exactly the same as in reality. Looking at the familiar face in the video, Lin Luo was a little distracted, and his subconscious distraction was quickly captured by Xiao Yuxuan. A smile flashed in his eyes, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. "Why, are you happy to see me so beautiful?" Lin Luo, who came back to his senses, coughed lightly. Adjusting his mood, he smiled and said, "What's the use of being good-looking? I still pay more attention to the inner self. For women, the most important thing is what matters." Huh? Xiao Yuxuan didn't understand what he meant, but she quickly realized that Inha had made a dirty joke. With Xiao Yuxuan's personality, if it was someone else, she would have hung up the video and blocked the other party long ago. However, facing Inha, she couldn't and didn't dare to do this. Her fair face was quickly covered with blush. I don't know if it was because of shyness or anger. Seeing her angry and embarrassed expression, Lin Luo couldn't hold back and laughed out loud. "You." Xiao Yuxuan blushed and gritted her teeth. "You can't say this to me, I'm not used to it." "Not used to it?" Lin Luo shook his head. "It's okay, you'll get used to it in the future. You made the decision yourself at the beginning, I didn't force you." "I." Xiao Yuxuan's face flushed. She wanted to refute, but she had nothing to say. Lin Luo rubbed his sore eyes. "Just say it if you have something to say. I just came out of the dungeon and I'm a little tired." If it weren't for the class tomorrow, Lin Luo would also be happy to play with her more, but thinking that he would also take Xiao Yuxuan's class tomorrow, he felt a little scared again. After adjusting for a long time, Xiao Yuxuan finally calmed down. Although there was still shame in her eyes, her tone was back to normal. "It's nothing big, I just saw that you just finished the dungeon and came to care about you." "Care?" Lin Luo sneered in his heart. "That's not necessary. If you really want to care about me, then give me a clear answer." "What answer?" Xiao Yuxuan asked in confusion. "It's the answer to whether it's tight or not. Hurry up." Lin Luo was actually very anxious because of his lack of strength. He was also afraid that he would die in the dungeon if he didn't pay attention. The anxiety in his heart kept piling up. This was actually not good, and now, seeing that Xiao Yuxuan in the video was about to turn red, Lin Luo suddenly felt a lot more relaxed. But this time, he held back the laughter that was about to come out. In 3 seconds, he recalled all the painful things in his previous life. Then, he put on a depressed and dark posture. He spoke in a hoarse voice. "Who gave you the order? Or, since they asked you to find me, just state your purpose directly, there is no need to beat around the bush." Chapter 28. The galaxy is asleep, but the world can't fall asleep. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Perhaps it was because there were too many painful things in the previous life, or maybe it was because time travel was painful in the first place, or maybe the anxiety accumulated in the past 2 days made Lin Luo unable to control his emotions, and he is now wearing the identity of Galaxy. The deep voice that sounded made Xiao Yuxuan instantly sober up from the shame. Her body trembled unconsciously. The blush on her cheeks faded at a speed visible to the naked eye. "It's not like that. Forget it." Lin Luo interrupted her directly. "Since you don't want to talk, there is no need to talk about it in the future." "Wait, I'll tell you." Xiao Yuxuan shouted repeatedly. She pursed her lips, and in a place that could not be seen in the video, her hands were so nervous that they crossed together. At present, all forces on the entire network and even in the world want to find the true identity of Galaxy. This means that Galaxy is still in hiding for the time being. If Galaxy gets angry and loses contact because of her own reasons, then she will be the sinner of the alliance, and more likely the sinner of the entire Daxiao. Although I agreed to your conditions, I am still a Daxia person after all, right? Perhaps she was frightened by Inha's attitude. Her eyes were red, and she looked pitiful with tears in her eyes. She was silent for a long time. Lin Luo, who was almost asleep, suddenly felt a sense of weightlessness. His half-lying body trembled suddenly, woke up from his daze, looking at Xiao Yuxuan, who was about to cry in the video. Lin Luo was in a state of confusion. What the hell? Is this the issue we are discussing now? The key is that no one asked you to betray the country. Lin Luo sat up straight and said, to be honest, we have known each other for a short time, so there is no need to lick me like this. As for the issue of position, we will talk about it later. You should talk about business first. He stretched out his right hand and rubbed his temple through the mask to relieve some sleepiness, but on the other side of the video, Xiao Yuxuan's face turned pale when she heard this. She stared at the screen with lifeless eyes, staring at the figure on the sofa. From childhood to adulthood, although she was not a favored daughter of heaven, she was also held in the palm of everyone's hand and cared for. She was also one of the few 3-star reincarnations in Linhai City. Inha actually said that he was a dog. Xiao Yuxuan clenched her fists, her nails almost embedded in her palms, and used the piercing pain to keep herself calm. Inha. Because of excessive excitement, her voice trembled slightly. How could she know that Lin Luo on the opposite side had only slept for more than 4 hours in 2 days because of the problem of copy cooling? Now he was lying on the sofa and almost fell asleep. As for what was said just now, Lin Luo had no impression. Inha. Xiao Yuxuan's tone was a little heavier, finally woke up the drowsy Lin Luo. I admit that Tianwen found me just now and said he wanted to see you. Who? Lin Luo reacted. Tianwen. The one on the ranking list. That on the surface, Tianwen is the only 5-star reincarnation in the Daxia Alliance and one of the leaders of the alliance. It is not difficult to understand that he wants to contact Inha. Lin Luo was very happy to be valued by the strongest man in Daxia, but Lin Luo didn't like his tone. If he wants to see me, I have to see him. Lin Luo replied lazily, what a big tone. Anyway, his identity has not been exposed yet, so he can be arrogant for a while. His arrogant attitude made Xiao Yuxuan speechless. I misrepresented it. It was Tianwen who asked if he could chat with you. You don't have to add him as a friend. He just wants to chat with you. Okay. Lin Luo agreed readily, sitting up straight and taking a few deep breaths. His drowsy brain finally cleared up. Let me check my schedule. I will probably be free next year. Please help me contact him then. Inha. Xiao Yuxuan shouted. Lin Luo suddenly raised his hand to interrupt her. I see you have a little temper. How about contacting me in 2 years? That at this point, Xiao Yuxuan finally understood the hint. On the other side of the video, he took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. After a long time, he spoke again. Inha, just chat with him a little. Don't worry, if he dares to bully you, I will help you beat him up. Oh, really? Lin Luo smiled softly, waving his hand. He said, okay, then for your sake, I will come on time tomorrow night, and you can find me then. Okay. Xiao Yuxuan nodded suddenly, and there was light in her eyes again. The few words just now seemed to make her grasp Inha's habit, and her mind gradually became active. Just when she was about to say goodbye to Inha and convey the good news to others, Lin Luo spoke again, in a flat tone. Think about what happened just now, and give me an answer tomorrow. From now on, I will do a deal with the Great Xia Alliance. Who do you belong to? After that, he didn't wait for a reply and directly closed the video call. The living room became quiet again. Sitting on the sofa, Lin Luo's eyes were deep. Some things I can ignore, but Xiao Yuxuan can't ignore. If she essentially thinks that this is just a transaction and that she is still a member of the Daxia Alliance, even if she always considers the alliance, then there is no point in keeping her. If something goes wrong in the future, maybe he will really have to kill his sister to prove his truth. In his heart, Lin Luo does not want to reach this point, so he wants to nip the hidden danger in the bud. Instead of killing his sister to prove his truth, it is better to make a choice early. It is just a deal anyway, it does not matter who you do it with. There is no need to hang yourself here with Xiao Yuxuan. Real world. Lin Luo yawned when he returned to the bedroom. After eating something in the kitchen, he dragged his body to the bathroom to finish washing up. He got the SSS-level evaluation and increased his charm a little. Looking in the mirror, it seems that he is indeed much better looking. However, no matter how handsome Yanzu becomes, he is still Yanzu plus, without any substantial change. It would be great if this face could be uglier. Alas. Self-admiration in front of the mirror finally exhausted Lin Luo's last bit of energy. he closed his eyes and went back to the bedroom in the dark, and fell on the bed. Instantly, he snored like thunder, just when Lin Luo fell into a deep sleep and discussed with Xiao Yuxuan whether it was urgent or not. The investigation report on Galaxy has been sent to the leaders of various forces. Except for the 2 copies of Kung Fu and Tang Detective that he explored at the beginning, other information is almost blank. Even, it is not certain where Galaxy is from. In the Samsara space, for the people of Daxia, Galaxy's name is displayed as Galaxy, but for people from other countries, his name can be Galaxy, Galaxy, or even, as a result, no one can be sure where Galaxy comes from. A single copy with an SSS-level rating is enough to gain the favor of a big force. Not to mention 2 consecutive SSS-level perfect ratings, shocking the entire Samsara space in one fell swoop. News about Galaxy spread wildly on the internet, occupying every corner, and in the Daxia Alliance, more information is known than others. A document containing the personal panel information of Galaxy was urgently sent to the capital. Outside the quaint courtyard, fully armed guards carried password boxes and trotted all the way. Finally, he stopped in front of a hall deep inside with a respectful look. Chapter 29, The Ghost Emperor of the Underworld, The 10 Kings of Hell. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It was just dawn. As the reports came one after another, there was a movement in the room. Footsteps sounded, the door opened, and a middle-aged man in a moon-yellow robe appeared in front of the guard. He was the current ruler of the Great Xia Alliance, the world's 3rd-ranked 5-star reincarnationist, Tianwen. Lord Tianwen. The guard's eyes were filled with enthusiasm. He bowed his head respectfully and held up the password box. This is an urgent document sent from Linhai overnight. Please take a look. Although he was just standing quietly, but Tianwen exuded a strong aura. It seemed that he had just returned from the reincarnation space and stood there thinking for a long time. Was it sent by the younger generation of the Xiao family? What's his name? The guard replied. It's the younger generation of the Xiao family in Linhai, named Xiao Yuxuan, currently a 3-star reincarnationist. Tianwen stood inside the door and suddenly raised his hand. The password box held by the guard suddenly flew up and flew straight towards him. Bang! He held it firmly in his hand. He opened the password box, and there was only a piece of paper inside. There were strings of data written on the paper, which were all about Inha, including reincarnation codes, partitions, and an integrated analysis of his personality. P-Zone. Tianwen's eyes flashed. According to the rules, when a reincarnator enters the space for the first time, he will automatically match the corresponding partition according to the region he is in. In other words, Inha is likely to be in Daxia. He may even be a Daxia person. Thoughts surged in Tianwen's heart. Because of excitement, a smile appeared on his haggard face. With Inha's current double SSS-level perfect evaluation, everyone wants to win him over to join their forces. Daxia Alliance and Tianwen are no exception. The key to connecting with Inha lies in Xiao Yuxuan. Give orders to find a few 4-star level dungeon guides and send them to the Xiao family. I remember their family head has been at 4 stars for a while, right? Tianwen put his hands behind his back, as if asking himself. When his combat power exceeds 10,000, we will arrange for him to join the Council of Elders. Sir. The guard standing at the bottom of the stairs suddenly spoke. Facing Tianwen's puzzled eyes, the guard hesitated. Just tell me if you have anything to say. Tianwen narrowed his eyes and said, about Xiao Yuxuan. Yes. The guard bowed his head and said, before returning to the capital, Miss Xiao asked me to tell you something. Tianwen's heart sank, but he did not interrupt. Miss Xiao said that the documents submitted were extracted and analyzed by her without Inha's consent. This is the last thing she can give to the Alliance at present. What do you mean? Tianwen's eyes were stern. Under the pressure of momentum, the guard replied, because of Inha's request, she can only help convey all future transactions or news, and there is no way to speculate too much. At the same time, Miss Xiao also applied to you to withdraw from the Alliance. After the voice fell, the courtyard fell into a long silence. Tianwen stood on a high place with a frown. On the surface, Xiao Yuxuan meant to withdraw from the Alliance and have nothing to do with it in the future, but the premise of these words was added with because of Inha's request. That sounds a bit intriguing. Can anyone confirm Inha's identity? I mean, others. Tianwen said. The guard paused and shook his head and said, no. Inha himself has not exposed the organization's information. No one can find out his identity for the time being. After a moment of contemplation, Tianwen smiled again. He ordered again, transfer what you just said to the Shao family in Linhai, and the other conditions are the same. As for the Shao family in Beijing, find someone to talk to them and make it clear. Reply to Xiao Yuxuan, her application to withdraw from the alliance is not allowed. The guard clasped his fists. Yes. In addition, Tianwen continued to arrange other requirements. Just listen to her own choice, just put a name on the alliance. I will discuss the rest with Inha in detail. Yes. After a salute, the guard stepped back out of the courtyard and turned to leave. Tianwen stood there, looking up at the distant sky. At this time, the morning sun was rising, the morning glow of half of the sky was dyed red, and the surging vitality rushed towards him. He murmured to himself, are you really from Daxia? Early morning, at 7 o'clock in the morning, Lin Luo woke up in his bedroom bed. Although he had only slept for 5 hours, he did not feel tired at all. His brain was clear, and his 5 senses and 6 consciousnesses became unusually clear. Lin Luo could hear the sound of cars coming from afar and the chirping of insects and birds outside the window clearly. His energy was restored. He guessed in his heart that it should be the reason for the surge in his attribute values, originally. These feelings should have been discovered during the day yesterday, but because he slept too little yesterday, driven by the excitement of becoming a reincarnation, he actually ignored these details. Now that his spirit has recovered, Lin Luo finally noticed the changes in himself. Get up. After washing up and taking some food from the refrigerator, he went out to school. Although the original owner's parents passed away unexpectedly, but because it was the other party's fault, the two of them had to pay a lot of compensation. Even if there was no cheating, it was enough for the original owner to be lazy and eat until death. What's more, Lin Luo did not cheat. Just walked into the school gate. From time to time, there were young girls looking over here. Although the original owner was good-looking, but because his parents left, he had been decadent for a long time, and he didn't know how to take care of himself. He was always a nobody in school, until Lin Luo came. His mentality returned to normal, plus 2 points of charm value. From a modern perspective, 10 points of charm value is completely the ceiling of human appearance. Students gathered in groups of 3 or 5, whispering together, secretly praising him for being handsome behind his back. No, they were discussing the great god Galaxy in the reincarnation space. I'm really numb, Galaxy is really awesome, and yesterday he got another SSS-level evaluation. Fuck, is this true? You're talking nonsense. The entire reincarnation space has been notified. How can it be false? I'm not even 18 yet. When I become a reincarnation, I shouldn't be worse than this Galaxy, right? Why is the kid talking nonsense again? I heard that Galaxy got his first perfect evaluation in the trial dungeon. Hiss. Trial dungeons can also get SSS-level evaluations. I remember that the star ratings of trial dungeons are completely random, and even 2- and 3-star maps may appear. Shocked, if this strategy is sold, how much money can be made? What are you thinking? Unless it's a large-scale continuous dungeon, there is basically no point in exploring a dungeon with an SSS-level evaluation. Wouldn't Galaxy lose a lot of money? Laugh. No one really thinks that Galaxy is short of such a little money, right? Following many students, Lin Luo listened with relish, especially, seeing some people showing surprised and envious eyes. It is as refreshing as eating a popsicle. Don't worry that I will be arrogant, please blow harder. With the potential shown by Inha, do you think you will be short of money in the future? No one doesn't know that the Ghost Emperor of the Underworld has said that as long as Inha is willing to join them, he can choose the position of the 10 Kings of Hell. Do you think Inha is interested in this little money? As the voice fell, there were sounds of people sucking in cold air all around. Even Lin Luo, who was following behind, suddenly frowned. Ghost Emperor of the Underworld.